Stay open and take it at your own pace. This is not a relay race. Mm-hmm. This is your journey, and you know what it will take for you to get where you want to be.
You're listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington. This is a community that believes wholeheartedly in the mantra, chase purpose, not money. For many years, people have asked me, but how do I do that? What does that really look like? And my answer was the amazing experience that is now called Purpose to Platform. And this week, all week, I am highlighting some of the client success stories from this beautiful tribe of people all over the world, because I want you to have examples of what it looks like to truly chase purpose, not money, for you to finally answer the call on your life, and for you to do those things that feel completely authentic and in alignment with your spirit, not what you feel you were pushed to do. Many people have their own plans and their own agendas, but if you're over 2 years old, that should be all of us. You know that the plan is not always like, things don't always go the way you plan for it to go, right? You know that life happens, and you know that many times God has other plans for you. And that is what our client success story is about today. Doreen Ellis is here to share her experience in Purpose to Platform and how many things happened along the way that led her to understand that God always has another plan. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Doreen Ellis. Welcome to the Redefining Wealth podcast, Doreen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. I'm so excited this entire week to feature so many amazing students of Purpose to Platform. And I think that this timing couldn't have been better, because I know that you just released a book, right?
Yes, I'm so excited. Yes.
Okay, I'm really excited to dive into that, but I'm going to do what I do with everyone. Before we go there, I need to know how you were even initially introduced to me and this Purpose to Platform work.
Okay, I've been waiting to tell this story. I was actually home during the pandemic, and my friend, one of our good friends, a friend of ours, she was actually doing an interview, and she was featured on Dr. Cheryl Wood's platform. And Dr. Cheryl Wood was having like back-to-back meetings with, tons and tons of people. And I just came across her, I just came across that through the invite from our friend, Mrs. Nikki Taylor. So I said, okay, I'm going to watch. So I watched her, and I really like what Dr. Cheryl Wood was talking about. So I continued to watch her even after the interview with Mrs. Nikki Taylor. And one day you were featured during that time. Mm-hmm. So I really like her. She's speaking my language. So I said, well, I'm going to write down her information. I was going for a walk, so I typed it in my phone. And I said, I have to look her up, because at that time I didn't know anything about podcasts. I work full-time mom, full-time wife, so I'm just like, I have no time for a podcast. And it just so happened that I was home and I had the time. So I looked you up and came across the podcast, and I was hooked ever since.
The podcast has, a reputation for doing that. So you mentioned two women that I absolutely adore, Nikki Taylor and Dr. Cheryl Wood. I have collaborated with Dr. Cheryl Wood before. She's spoken to my community before, which was so amazing. And Nikki Taylor, yes. Just love her. She's been on the podcast, and I used to do work with her at Disney Dreamers Academy back in the day. And so you mentioned
it's a small
people
world.
That I absolutely
it's a small
love.
world.
I love that.
And I'm shocked that I never met you. I'm sure our paths cross, because my husband speaks there every year at the Disney Dreamers Academy. And that's how I got to know Mrs. Nikki.
Now, who is your husband?
Dr. Alex Ellis.
Let me fall out real quick. Doreen, we had to have met each other somehow, some way. What a small world. But
It is.
I think this speaks to divine connections, right? And
Oh,
that
yes.
God's timing is everything. And
Absolutely.
this is why I always tell people, even as a coach, and I'm sure you learned this from me in P2P, I am not someone who tries to force or push people into anything, right? I believe that when the time is right and we are supposed to align and connect, that it'll work
Right.
out the way that it should. My job is just to continue to show up and be consistent with the message that's on my heart, the thing I was called to do. And I
Yes.
believe that as I sprinkle those seeds out there, God will send the people who are assigned to me in the right season for them.
Yes. And I so appreciate it because I would not have come across you otherwise. So thank you. Thank
Oh
you.
my
Oh,
gosh.
thank you for planting the seeds. Thank you for all that you do.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you started to listen to the podcast and you already said you work full time. So what was the thing that drew you in to participating in Purpose the Platform?
Okay, so fast forward, I actually took during that time, I took the package on my job. So that gave me more time to really focus on the things that I wanted to do. So the original plan was for me to take a year off, just regroup, get myself together and to get back out in the marketplace. But I was actually going to change careers. And so the pandemic came. We were actually at Disney, the Disney Dreamers Academy, and they shut it down. They said, we're not having it, but
Oh wow.
you're okay to stay, you can still stay, but we're not going to move forward with the program this year. So the kids, they were just distraught. They were hurt. I was just like, okay, what do we do now? So I was like, okay, we're going to stay and we're going to enjoy Disney on their tab. So that's what happened. We ended up staying at Disney and we got back home just enough time to get like maybe the last bread off the shelf of the store.
Right.
And my next career was homeschooling my daughter.
Many of us, that was definitely a night job for me, a second job. I remember.
So yes, that's what happened. And that afforded me time to sit, listen, and I'm like, okay, Lord, what now? Because I was off for a year and I'm thinking I'm about to enter back into the workplace. And he says, no, I have other plans for you. And I said, okay. So yeah, that took me on a journey of me discovering what God wanted me to do. And I began to write. And I told Miss Nikki, I said, I just enjoy writing. And she says, keep writing. I said, okay. So I kept writing. And then my writing just took on a form of its own. And God had me write this book. It's really about what I discover during my time of sitting down and hearing from God.
Wow. Okay, so what's the name of the book?
So it's Pearls to Purpose. It's a 90-day women's guide to self-discovery.
And so you wrote the book before P2P.
I was writing the book before P2P, but this is what happens. You did a 5-day challenge. And I remember that particular year, it was created for purpose.
Yes.
I said, interesting. The purpose, create for purpose. Okay, I'm hooked. So I go on. I'm taking advantage of every challenge. And that particular year, Nicole Roan, I believe her name was. She was my coach.
Nicole. Yes.
Small world, right? So I end up, I'm doing the assignments that you're giving me, and I'm just like, this is great. And I'm telling my husband all of that. I'm just like, oh my God, I love this. I'm like, I just love what she's putting down. I was like, I love, just her energy. I love the people that she attracts in her tribe, so yeah, so I began to listen to you and I'm doing the exercises. And it was interesting because as you were telling me, you're like, well, you won't leave the person that you're supposed to serve leaving out, you just leave them out in the street bleeding.
Right.
Like, no, I don't want to do that. So every time you would give us a challenge, I challenge the women that I meet with on a regular basis. And just so happened that you said you were committed to one person. You had shared a story and you were just saying that you were writing your blog and you were about to give up because your husband wasn't looking at it and your mother wasn't looking at it. And you're just like, okay, I'm about to give up. And this one guy reached out to you and was like, wait a minute, what about those blogs that you used to post?
Yeah.
And that changed, just changed your whole attitude into, and you continue to write. And I said, okay, that registered with me. And I said, okay, I'm going to show up for an audience of one. So the group of ladies that I meet with, they're, we call Pearl to Purpose. And I said, I am going to show up for an audience of one. So I am committed to you. Da, 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 da. So I'm telling them the whole, spiel, and I'm sharing my, the lessons that I learned from the 5-day challenge with them. And December hits and I get attacked. I have something's going on with my body. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I said, I felt this pain before, but I haven't felt it in over 20 years. Yes. So that was December of 2020, and we're about to enter into 2021. And I had kidney stone, and it was painful. I mean, I never experienced having a pain like that. Like I said, the last time I had it was 20 years ago. So I just don't remember it being that bad. So my husband, he didn't know what to do. I said, take me to the hospital. So I go to the hospital and they checked me out and they said the stone was so large, they ended up doing surgery and they removed part of the stone. So that was fine. But then they had to put a stent inside. So they thought they had me all right. And that particular night, it was a long day, but I ended up coming home. So this is after the 5-day challenge, like maybe a week later, I get hit with this. Now that I make up in my mind that I said, I'm going to commit to showing up for an audience of one. And he was like, no, you're not. I guess the enemy was like, oh, no, you're not going to do that. I'm like, oh, yes, I am. So I end up going home, and then the pain did not stop. I ended up going back into the hospital, and now it's New Year's Eve. I brought in the new year 2021 on a bed, admitted in the hospital for 3 days.
What's up, OG listeners and purpose chasers? Guess what time it is? It is Purpose Challenge time. Every year I like to, really take this chase purpose, not money, to the next level by teaching you live in real time for 5 nights, all of the things that have helped me evolve and go from literally scraping up change to embracing my purpose and building a thriving platform. And I'm going to teach you because I want you to chase purpose, not money. Right now, go to thepurposechallenge.com and get signed up. We begin on Sunday, March 27th, and it is going to be incredible. Everyone who's been through a challenge, I'm telling you, literally their minds are blown because of how much is really given and how supportive the community is. This is about chains breaking. This is about you getting clarity. This is about you being empowered to take your next best step so that you can literally chase purpose, not money. So join me starting March 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm also going to be doing tons of giveaways, and the only way that you can enter for the giveaway is to be registered for the challenge. And trust me, engagement pays, so you want to come on over. Come to thepurposechallenge.com. I can't wait to serve you. I am so excited, and I hope that you're excited too, to finally embrace your purpose and take it to the next level. I'll see you there.
I come home January the 4th of that year. I wasn't even able to, during the pandemic, my husband couldn't even stay. My husband couldn't stay. My daughter couldn't stay with me. I'm now in this hospital room, and now all I have is, a bed and a TV watching me because I am just completely out of it. And I was like, okay. But I knew for some reason, I said, this is an attack. I know this came out of nowhere. And when I got off of that bed and I fully recovered, like about a week or two later, I said, it's on and popping moving forward.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I wasn't able to afford to do the purpose, the platform that particular year. I said, I am determined the next time she opens up this program,
Yeah.
will be in her program.
And
So
that was August. That was August, I believe.
August of 2021. And it was interesting because I'm thinking it was going to be December timeframe again. And you were saying that the Lord spoke to you and you changed some different things. And I said, I said, okay. I said, well, Lord, you know what I said? I said, I wanted to be in her program the next time it comes around. And I told my husband, and he was like, okay. I said, well, I don't know how we're going to do that because by this time I'm out of work for two years.
Almost 2 years now. And with the health challenges. But like I always say this, greatness requires us to expect resistance.
Oh, absolutely.
And I have found in my life every time, not every time, but girl, it feel like every time, many times when I have been very decisive about moving forward and what I feel like God is calling me to do, it has not been without some form of attack. It has not been without some form of trial, tribulation, challenge of some kind. But I do believe that this is why I say it in that podcast episode. You want to have a process for how you move through resistance, right? You want to know what you believe, why you believe it. You want to know what scripture, what quote, what do I go to? How do I navigate this process? How do I, for me, I need to be still, listen, right?
Absolutely.
To what to do next. I need to listen more than I'm talking and whining and complaining about it. But I mean, that's so clear in your story. You're like, I'm going to commit to an audience of one and I'm just going to keep showing up. And then it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Show up for who? Show up for
right.
No, you're not. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's go to when you came into Purpose to Platform. What was your expectation of being in the program, in that experience?
My expectation was, okay, now that I'm writing this book, what next? Like, okay, I write the book and then what happens? Because now I'm still not clear on what that next step. All right, I write a book that doesn't mean that's going to pay the bills.
Right.
This mean. So as I'm now in the program and, just sitting down and it was wonderful because I had the opportunity to really go in 100%. I didn't have all the distractions. I didn't have, to worry about juggling the job. I was really full in to PTP and the coaches and the different things that they would share. And I'm just like, and I'm taking it all in and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm blowing. I'm just like, wow. And the more I leaned in, the more he began to pour and the more things unfolded. I'm just like, okay, oh, I understand. You're trying to tell me that I'm not going back to a regular 9 to 5. That's what but my mindset, I was, I'm so used to, okay, I'm going to get a job, I'm gonna, I'm looking to get my resume brushed up and I'm going to enter back into the workplace. And God was just like, and he's so patient with us. He's just like, she doesn't get it yet. And
bless her heart. Bless her heart. So
shortly thereafter.
What was it about being in Purpose to Platform, though, do you feel like was a part of confirming that for you? Was it just the ahas? Was it other women in the community and their stories? Like, what was the thing that made you feel like, okay, I really need to get this book done and build something instead of thinking I'm going back into the workforce in that way?
Well, for me, it was, getting to, the group was phenomenal. But the challenges that you would give us each week, I was just like, each time you were like, we're going deeper. And I'm just like, okay, remember one particular time you were sharing about, people were just not, they were like, you're not even in the water, you're not even on the beach, it's just like, you got to get your feet in the water, you got to, and then you were challenging us and stretching us to do things that I'd never done before, like going live on Facebook. I'm just like, I'm such a behind the scenes girl. So I'm just like, this is far out of my comfort zone, but okay, nevertheless, I'm going to do it, because proof is in the doing, right? That's what we were talking about, during the course of the coaching. And for me, I think, it started really coming together and started resonating with me as I did each exercise. And we got a little deeper and you kept pulling things, pulling the layers and really getting down to what we really wanted. And I said, wow, coaching, consulting, doing these different things, entrepreneurship, that wasn't even on my radar. I knew I was supposed
You're like, I just want to finish my book and figure out how I'm going to get my book out here. I really was not into all of these things. Thanks a lot. I love that you said that, though, because that's what the challenges are designed to do. I know that Purpose to Platform is an intense experience. There's so much. There's 360 degrees of coaching. So beyond me and all my stuff, you get these other 6 amazing coaches in all these different areas. Yes. And then the community, this international community of people who are so like-hearted. That's what we say.
Yes.
Not all doing the same things, not from the same background by any means, but the same spirit of wanting to do work that is of service, like
yes,
world,
yes,
right? And it's a lot, but I love that you said, it wasn't comfortable, but you allowed yourself to lean in and pull back those layers. In order for you to get the most out of this experience, you have to be willing to lean in. I'm not saying you got to dive in on the first week, but you have to allow yourself to slowly lean in. And I think being in a supportive community helps.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And like you said, the coaches were phenomenal, and just hearing the different stories and just, they're sharing their story really helped me. I'm just like, this is possible, so I'm just so thankful that I did step out and I did, the program, and you were just like, give God something to bless. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to give God something to bless.
I love it. So now here we are. Let's see, you graduated from P2P in November. So now here we are in March. You're launching the book. Like the book just came out this week. What else are you working on, or what have you planned around the book launch and all that great stuff?
Okay, so when the book is launched, I am planning I'm not sure if I'm going to do a 6-week program or a 12-week program. Okay. That's still, I'm still trying to debate what I want to do with that, but I will have a method, the method that I learned through P2P, where I will take you through a 5-step method to pursue your purpose. Mm-hmm. That's my ultimate goal, is for people to know who they are and for them to walk out their purpose.
Love it. Love it. What does your family think about what you've experienced, like going through P2P and everything you've done? How does your husband or your daughter feel about seeing you do this?
Oh my goodness. It's so amazing just to see my daughter. First of all, she adores you. It's every time she sees me on my phone, she's like, "Mommy, is that Patrice Washington?"
Is that all the kids know my name? All the kids know my name. I hear that so much.
Yes. So and then my husband, it was interesting because when I first when I took the package, I was just like, wait a minute, you were supposed to come off of your job. That was the plan. We were, working toward you taking the leap. And I'm like, how did I end up taking the leap? And you're still on the job. So during the course of that time, he just saw how God was moving in my life. And it was just wonderful because now it gave him what he needed for him to take the leap off of his job. So now we're in the water. We're like we're in this thing together.
You're in the deep. You are in the
Yes.
deep. I hear that so often that especially with couples or anyone who's usually living in the home with someone who's in,
Mm-hmm.
I think, an experience like this that's so intense that it rubs off.
Oh,
Like it is,
absolutely.
purpose is contagious. You get
Oh,
around someone who
absolutely.
is really leaning into purpose, and willing to challenge themselves and peel back the layers and keep going deeper. That is not just for you, and that is not just for the people that you are called to serve in the way of clients or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's also for the people who are closest to you that are watching you, because sometimes they may need to borrow a little of your faith. They may need to
Absolutely.
borrow a little of the boldness that you're developing or the courage that you're now demonstrating. It's like, okay, wait a minute. If she can go from I'm not gonna go live, I'm a behind the scenes, that's not what I do. And now he's probably on Facebook like, is that my wife live? What's she doing? What's going on over here? That is inspiring. I think that's always better than trying to tell someone anything. You have to
Absolutely.
walk it. You have to walk it out.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I love it. Well, Doreen, I'm so proud of you. Super excited for you. We're definitely going to link to the book, Pearls of Wisdom. Did I say it right?
Purpose.
Pearls to Purpose. Where I get
Yes.
pearls of wisdom from? I'm just making my own stuff up.
But
Okay.
there's a lot of wisdom well, pearls is
Pearls are associated
yes.
with wisdom. Okay, so I'm
Yes.
not far off. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Pearls to Purpose, we'll make sure that we link to that in the show notes. Super proud of you. If you had to give a word of encouragement to someone right now who is actually in the Creative for Purpose challenge this week, what would you tell them to do so that they could get the most out of the experience?
I would say stay open and take it at your own pace. This is not a relay race.
Mm-hmm.
This is your journey, and you know what it will take for you to get where you want to be. Just don't rush through don't rush through this the methods or the modules. I would say take your time and let it marinate. Sit with it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't rush it, and as you continue to sit, I believe that you will get clarity. And then as you get clarity, then you take action.
Good. Yes. Or when I push you in a challenge, then you take some action, and the clarity will also come through the action. Okay. All right, Doreen, this has been so good. So proud of you. Continue blessings to you. And as you continue to just do your thing, launch your programs, write more books, do writing for other websites, whatever you do, just know you have a community of us here at Redefining Wealth, but also just your Purpose to Platform sisters from all over the world who are cheering for you. And thank you for being such a big part of this community.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, wasn't that awesome? That was really awesome. It just blessed my heart so much because I truly understand that the transformation that women experience in this program is not just for them. I've seen it time and time again. We have back episodes where I actually invited husbands of women who were in P2P to talk about what they saw in their wives. And the episode was called Love Looks Like Support. And we did it around Valentine's Day, I think 2020. And it was so beautiful to hear how the men experienced this transformation of their wives and what it meant to them. And so I hope it encourages you and just reminds you that when you're doing the work, it's really not just for you. Your children are watching, your parents are watching, you may have coworkers watching, your significant other is watching, but the ripple effect of blessings is so real and it can be so great. And that is also a part of my prayer for anyone who comes into this community. So I hope you were inspired. If you haven't joined the Creative for Purpose Challenge, you're in luck. You can still grab it. Come to thepurposechallenge.com and jump in with us so you can get the reminders and be entered for the giveaways and all that great stuff. I would love to have you. Tomorrow, I'll be back with another client success story. And oh my gosh, it is so good. You don't want to miss it. Until then, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever chasing money. Talk to you later.